I've been doing some videos recently on cheap cars that look expensive. Today we're going up in value pretty significantly to around £60,000 to see what cars we can get within that price range that look still more expensive than that. All of them are exotics verging on supercar levels in some cases. If you're part of the 77% of people watching this video right now that aren't subscribed, please consider subscribing for 2 videos every single week. Hit the like button as well if you want to see another video just like this one, and without further ado, let's get straight into it. We're kicking off with the Honda NSX, the car that the late great Ayrton Senna was involved in developing. In fact, he was literally the guy that pushed for Honda to stiffen the chassis further after spending a whole day testing prototypes, and as a result Honda agreed to complete further tests at the Nürburgring and a few other racetracks to get that chassis feeling right for the 3-time Formula 1 world champion and racing icon. His input made it 50% stiffer and only slightly heavier. It came with a naturally aspirated 3-litre V6 block which makes 270 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 5.2 seconds. Not ridiculously quick, but for a car released back in 1991 that wasn't at supercar money, that's pretty good. It was designed by the incredible Ken Okuyama at Pininfarina, the same man that designed multiple exceptional Ferraris, and the leaders at Honda who produced this car ended up moving onto the S2000 afterwards, but remember it's a classic car now, prepare to look after it as such. These will run you around 53k at the bottom end now, and 60k will get you a 1998 manual example with 100k on the clock. When I was a kid, outside of the Enzo Ferrari, I think my favourite supercar might have actually been the Dodge Viper, and the SRT10 from the 3rd generation Viper was exactly the car I truly fell in love with as a proper American muscle come sports car. And as it's American muscle, you know exactly what that means in terms of the engine, something utterly huge, an 8.3 litre V10 which makes 500 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 4.7 seconds, again not bad for a car released in 2002. Apparently can actually make it to 60 even faster than that too according to owners, but regardless I'm a fan of how iconic the shape of these is. There aren't many cars that look like a Viper, and though the interiors are a bit old, cheap and American, it's easy to overlook for a bit of the modern classic status. These are hard to come by in the UK, but I did find this convertible example £55,000 from 2005 with low mileage. The biggest problems with these seem to be the window regulators from what I can see on forums, plus the fact that running costs are absolutely astronomical. The Ferrari 360 is a car that I've become pretty well acquainted with. I've driven the 360 Modena on track and recently experienced the Spider 2 on roads, and I am in love with how analog and fun this car is to drive considering the age. I've also now been in both the gated manual and F1 automated manual examples, and they're both fun for different reasons. The gated manual is just beautiful to look at, and it's nice manually shifting a Ferrari V8 regardless, but the F1 gearbox is almost as satisfying. It changes quickly for a car of its age, despite feeling like you had to change the gears yourself somehow. Either way though, you're getting into a 3.6 litre V8 block which makes 400 brake horsepower, taking this car to 60 in 4.5 seconds, and I'll be honest, it's not about feeling fast in these, it's the symphony of sounds you get all around you. These start at around £39,000 and 60k will get you a 2001 model with 60k on the clock. Leaky F1 gearboxes and suspension issues offer the main problems on these, and annual maintenance costs are likely to average in the thousands. The Porsche Cayman 981 GT4 isn't the best track focused car I'm going to show you in this video, as later on I have something even more track ready, but in terms of the 981 generation it's as good as you can get. That being said, in terms of price it's actually cheaper than getting yourself the Boxster equivalent, which is funny as normally it's the other way around, but I must admit the 981 Spider gets me going in a completely unreasonable way. The Cayman starts at around £53,000 and 60k will get you a 2016 example with 20,000 miles on the clock. That will get you a 3.8 litre flat 6 engine which makes 379 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 4.3 seconds, though of course handling is what this thing does best. This car is built for someone that wants something that looks like a race car on the roads, acts like one on track, and can get you to and from a track day in a decent level of comfort, quite unlike maybe a Lotus for example, cementing a proper racing formula that the 987R failed to, and mostly they've been pretty reliable, with gearboxes sometimes being problematic in later model years. The Lamborghini Gallardo has for a long time offered cheap motoring for anyone who could afford the initial outlay for the car. For a while it was synonymous with the concept of free motoring, as it depreciated so much down to the 40k region and was starting to go up year on year. Outside of maintenance and any major issues that need replacement parts, owners were getting in and out for give or take take the same price. Nowadays these start at around £53,000 and 60k will get you a 2003 example with 60,000 miles on the clock, and that will be getting you a 5-litre V10 engine which makes 493 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 3.9 seconds, helped by the fact that it's all-wheel drive. With Audi taking charge, much of this build is better quality than the Lambos before it, somehow without it losing the Lamborghini passion. I don't feel like it's the perfect formula by any means, but it's nice that this car codified the entry-level Lambo and paved the way for the Huracan. Automatic models with the E-gear were known to be problematic, but actually that engine can handle a lot more power. So I hope you guys are enjoying this video. If you are, then do hit the like button and subscribe as well if you're new. And let me know in the comments down below, what is the best car you can buy for £60,000 right now? You know I mentioned there being a more track-focused car on this list. If you know my videos, I bet you're expecting a Lotus, but no, it's this, the KTM X-Bow, which in my opinion looks just as modern today as it did when it was released all the way back in 2008. I come from a motocross background, so I've had and ridden quite a few KTMs over the years, and we used to say it stood for keep taking money, but the X-Bow has been pretty reliable with its Audi engine in it that yes, can burn some oil, but as it's attached to a car with a total weight of 790 kilograms, it's not really under much stress. That engine is a 2-litre turbocharged inline-4 which makes 236 brake horsepower, the least on this list, but it will still get to 60 in 3.8 seconds thanks to that low weight. To achieve this weight, KTM worked with racing company Dallara and produced a carbon fiber monocoque like an F1 car. In my head, this is Austria's answer to the Ariel Atom. These start at 55k and 60k will get you a 2008 model with 30,000 miles on it. When the Aston Martin DB11 was released as the brand's new predominant Grand Tourer, it didn't look anything like Aston had produced before, with Ian Callum no longer around and a whole new design language which has informed most Astons ever since and still looks pretty modern today almost 10 years later. Even better though is that engine, a 5.2 litre V12, lower capacity than its predecessor the DB9, but it still puts out 600 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 3.8 seconds, so though it might be a cruiser, it's a ridiculously fast one. My favourite quote from the media on this is that it's a pretty fabulous way to sit behind 600 horsepower because they're absolutely correct, and it's been praised for having a really good chassis for a Grand Tourer. It rides exceptionally comfortably like a luxury car. These are listed anywhere from around £50,000, and 10k more than that will get you a 2017 model with 40,000 miles on the clock. These have a good reliability record so far, but coil packs and spark plugs suffering from water ingress seems to be a problem on some, and maintenance costs will be high as it's an Aston Martin. I am a huge fan of the Mercedes AMG GT as an exotic Grand Tourer that sets itself apart from most of the rest of the Mercedes brand. It's not about getting a 63 model to be a beast, every single AMG GT is a proper cool exotic car for the money. And though you can get the standard GT even cheaper, the uprated GT-S model is very much available within our price range and offers a tuned engine, an electronic LSD, race mode and race start mode, and an adaptive suspension setup alongside a louder exhaust. These come with the well-known Mercedes 4-litre twin turbocharged V8 which puts out 502 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 3.7 seconds, so some serious performance within our price range. It's not as special or shouty as an SLS AMG, but it is effectively the successor, and as the range topper it actually got pretty good quality on the interior unlike many other Mercs, and a driving experience focused on exactly that, driving. Forums do mention some catastrophic issues like gearbox oil leaks leading to total gearbox failure, but well-maintained examples that get inspected on time shouldn't be suffering such drastic problems. The Jaguar F-Type featured in one of my recent videos as a car that you can actually get into for under £20,000, but the specific model that everyone wants to get into will cost you more than double that, the SVR. This was the first production Jaguar since the XJ220 that could reach 200 miles per hour, and I would say if it wasn't for all these slower models, you could almost call this Jaguar's modern supercar. We don't need to though, instead it's their exotic, more performance-focused Grand Tourer which competes with the 991 Turbo S. That's thanks to its 5-litre supercharged V8 engine which makes 566 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 3.5 seconds, again helped by it being all-wheel drive. It's known to be one of the best sounding V8s you can buy because Jaguar spent so much time tuning it to make it pop and bang like a lunatic, and it isn't actually to everyone's taste. Then on top of that it gets more dramatic body stylings with the wing and carbon fibre everywhere and an Alcantara and carbon interior to match. This, matched with a genuinely pretty reliable V8, makes for a very decent offering. The first generation Audi R8 V10 Plus is a pretty cool proposition, not only because it's the fastest car on the list to 60, but because I would say it almost certainly stakes a claim to supercar status, which its base models probably don't. Its engine comes from the facelifted Gallardo to the one that we had previously on this list, a 5.2 litre V10 which makes 542 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 3.4 seconds. It also comes with some nice added extras like more carbon fibre and a reduction in weight, sportier suspension, ceramic brakes, bucket seats as standard, carbon on the interior, and it was only available from 2012 onwards. This car has almost the same performance figures issues as the Ferrari 458, and with the new S-Tronic gearbox, Audi resolved the issues people had with the older, more sluggish R-Tronic. These start at around £60,000 now, which gets you a 2014 model with 40,000 miles on it. They've had a plethora of issues over the years, suspension probably being the most common, but replacement parts are definitely the kicker. It's not a cheap car to fix. And so there you have it, 10 cars costing less than 60k that all look pretty expensive. Do hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. Huge thanks to patrons and to you guys as well for watching. And if you want to see a similar video at half the price, then click on screen right now.